welcome to the end times. Allah's holy book, the Quran, contains many controversial surahs which promote violence, hatred, and slavery. Today we will be looking at one surah in particular in which the Muslim God Allah commands Muslim men to beat their wives. Since the Quran comes directly from the Muslim God Allah, according to Islam, then this command to beat your wife must also come from the Muslim God Allah. This controversial surah that I will be discussing today is Surah 4:34, and it reads as follows: Men are the protectors and maintainers of women, because God has given the one more strength than the other, and because they support them from their means. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient and guard in the husband's absence what God would have them guard. As to those women on whose part ye fear disloyalty and ill conduct, admonish them first. Next, refuse to share their beds. And last, beat them lightly. But if they return to obedience, seek not against them means of annoyance, for God is most high, great above you all. That was Surah 4:34 of the Quran. Now, Islam is split on this subject of wife beating. Those in Muslim-controlled countries follow the Quran by the letter, word by word, while the Muslims living in the West say it is a symbolic stroke with a miswak, meaning a toothbrush. Here is a picture behind me of a Muslim woman who was beat up by her husband. If you look closely at her eye, I am sure that this beating was not done by a miswak or a toothbrush. Whether done with a toothbrush, stick, or the fist, regardless of how you interpret the book, the Quran instructs Muslim men to beat their wives in Surah 4:34, period. A Pakistani Muslim imam wrote in his book titled Tufat ul-Nisa, or Gift to Women, that a husband should physically beat his wife, just like the Quran commands. Another book titled Women in Islam, written by Imam Muhammad Kamal Mustafa, instructs Muslim men on how they should beat their wives. According to Surah 4:34 in Allah's Quran, a Muslim man must first verbally admonish his wife, which includes verbal abuse and yelling. Next, if that doesn't work, he must ground her or lock her up in her bedroom like a child. Then he must refuse to have any sexual relations with her as punishment. Finally, if all fails, he is to beat her into obedience. Well, let's try to make some sense out of this surah. Here in America, I'm sure, and some other countries, beating your wife or child for any reason could land you in jail. Washington knows this very well, yet they are promoting Sharia law and calling Islam a peaceful religion. According to Washington, what applies to some, meaning the non-Muslims, may not apply to others, meaning the Muslims. I earlier mentioned that Muslims living in the West say that beating your wife according to 4:34 is a symbolic stroke with a miswak, or a toothbrush. That's what miswak means. This idea of a toothbrush originated with Islamic scholars, who set the maximum size of the wife beating stick to be no longer than a miswak, or a toothbrush. No Muslim has yet denied that the Quran commands a Muslim man to beat his wife. No one has denied it. It cannot be denied because it is there in plain Arabic, Surah 4:34. What they argue about is how large the stick should be to beat your wife. Sounds like a joke, doesn't it? But it is what the Muslim God is telling his male followers to do. If you look closely in the Hadith, which is a book of historical documents and sayings from Muhammad, this book is used by all Muslims as a reference and guide for their religion. The Hadith shows us how women were treated back then. Later on, Islamic scholars were able to copy or continue these documents and develop an Islamic system of life. Since Muhammad approved the beating of wives, then scholars said this practice should continue today. After all, not only did Muhammad approve of this barbaric and senseless practice, but so did his Muslim God Allah. All of this was crammed into what we now know as a part of Sharia law, a dictatorship where no one is allowed to vote, and in Saudi Arabia, women are not allowed to drive cars. Now, Muslim men enjoy this command, Surah 434, because it favors them, and they're not the ones who are getting beat or abused. Furthermore, Surah 222 through 223 calls Muslim women in their discourse nothing more than pollution. Then Surahs 987 and 993 commands women to stay home because they don't understand. And then if you look further in Surah 33, it commands women to keep quiet and stay home. In light of all this, the only reason that I could think of why Muslim women put up with this is because of fear of retaliation. Muslim women, listen up. I urge you to wake up and cry out to Jesus Christ, who's the only one who can liberate you from this abuse and slavery. The only reason that you are living under these conditions is because you want to. Jesus Christ commands men to love, treasure, and respect their wives, not to beat them up. Ephesians 5:33 in the Holy Bible reads as follows: Nevertheless, let each one of you, in particular, so love his own wife as himself. And it says wife singular, not plural, not more than one wife. And let the wife see that she respects her husband. That's in the Holy Bible, in the book of Ephesians. If you love your wife as yourself, then you will do nothing or anything at all to harm her or shame her. Also, in order to have the wife respect the husband, he himself has to respect her too. It's a two-way street. Most Muslim women are either afraid to speak out against this barbaric behavior or are simply content with it. I can tell you though that there is a way out of this bondage. Noni Darwish, the daughter of a martyr, knows this too well. She's written books and she's been online and she's been on talk shows. She finally gave her life to Jesus Christ and escaped from this form of brutality. You can do the same. Remember, all you have to do is turn to Jesus Christ for help. He will help you. Cry out to Jesus Christ and He will liberate you. He will break the chains of bondage and He will set you free, like He did with Noni Darwish and thousands of other women who have come to Jesus Christ and have departed Islam. If you would like further information on this and other topics, I urge you to visit my website at endtimes.us.com. That's endtimes.us.com. Until next time, God bless you and thank you.